We have much more on CBS News with the interview with President Trump that's getting a lot of attention today. The president insisted his coronavirus response is working, and he criticized school officials in parts of California for ordering classrooms not to reopen next month. Now, after that conversation, he summoned White House reporters to the Rose Garden for a 52-minute campaign-style speech. He announced new sanctions against China for its crackdown on Hong Kong protesters, but also repeatedly blasted his expected 2020 opponent, Joe Biden. When he was finished, he spent just 10 minutes in questions and answers with reporters. In her exclusive interview, senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge asked about a series of issues, including the pandemic.
Is COVID-19 the greatest threat to your reelection?
I don't know. I've done a great job, and now I have to do it again. I was sailing to a win, sailing. We were sailing right into a win. We had the greatest economy ever for our country and for the world.
President Trump accused his presumptive rival, former Vice President Joe Biden, of already damaging the country's recovery.
The possibility that Joe Biden gets elected, that's a huge downward pull on the stock market.
You say that's affecting the stock market right now?
Oh, absolutely. The stock market would be much higher, except for the fact that if he got in, the stock market will crash.
The president criticized his challenger's choice of face coverings after he wore a mask for the first time in public this past weekend at a military hospital.
Would you urge Americans to wear a mask?
If it's necessary, I would urge him to wear a mask, and I would say follow the guidelines.
Why has it become such a political issue?
It is a political issue for a lot of people. It's not a political issue for me. I would wear it if I'm in contact with people, if I'm close to people.
And the president insisted schools should open on time.
The Los Angeles School District is the latest and one of the largest in the country to say they're not going back to school in the fall.
Mistake.
What do you tell parents and teachers who feel that it's unsafe to go back?
I would tell parents and teachers that you should find yourself a new person, whoever's in charge of that decision, because it's a terrible decision. Because children and parents are dying from that trauma, too. They're dying because they can't do what they're doing. Mothers can't go to work because all of a sudden they have to stay home and watch their child, and fathers. We have to open our schools. We have learned one thing very strongly. Young people are in great shape when it comes to the coronavirus.
Mr. Trump said his political opponents want to keep schools closed to stop his reelection.
They figure if they can delay school openings till after November 3rd, they have an advantage in the polls. I don't think so, because Joe Biden has been a failure.
And after recent controversy, President Trump defended the right to display the Confederate flag.
With me, it's freedom of speech, very simple. Like it, don't like it, it's freedom of speech.
Would you be comfortable with your supporters displaying the Confederate battle flag at political events?
You know, it depends on what your definition is, but I am comfortable with freedom of speech. It's very simple.
You understand why the flag is a painful symbol for many people, because it's a reminder of slavery.
Well, people love it, and I know people that like the Confederate flag, and they're not thinking about slavery. I look at NASCAR, you go to NASCAR, you had those flags all over the place, they stopped it. I just think it's freedom of speech, whether it's Confederate flags or Black Lives Matter or anything else you want to talk about. It's freedom of speech.
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
Research suggests that black people are about 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white people. But the overall number of white people killed is higher because white people make up a larger percentage of the overall population. The president also made news on China, saying for now he does not want to continue trade talks.
Look, we made a great trade deal, but as soon as the deal was done, the ink wasn't even dry, and they hit us with the plague. Okay? So right now, I'm not interested in talking to China about another deal. I'm interested in doing other things with China.
And how will you hold the Chinese government accountable for COVID-19?
You'll see. You'll see. It's not for you. It's for me.
But you will hold them accountable?
You'll see.
And throughout our interview, the president signaled an escalation in tensions with China. He blames them for the spread of coronavirus and damaging the success of the U.S. economy, which is key to his reelection. And bowing to opposition from hundreds of universities, the Trump administration has reversed a week-old rule that would have barred foreign students from continuing their studies online at U.S. colleges. Gayle?
Catherine, thank you very much. Please know a lot of people thank you for that terrible question. Thank you very much.